It's good to be here.
Okay, sorry about that. Things were screwed up here on my end, I guess. Normal for me.
It happens.
Can we, so we've got, is Greg officially a member of the board, Tom?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, then we have 3 members, which is a quorum, so we can call the meeting to order. If you'd call the roll, please.
Sure thing. Mr. Fike?
Here.
Mr. Matthews? Doesn't look like he's on. Dr. Siemens?
Here.
Mr. Delahunt told me he would be absent today. And then we have Mr. Peugeot.
Here.
Did I say that right?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, so we have a quorum. We had you should have gotten the minutes for the October 15th meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve those. I had already mentioned to the board secretary a spelling change, but other than that, motion to approve those minutes.
Great. Is there a second? Greg?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next is the election of officers. Our officers up until this meeting were, I think I was president, and Dr. Seaman, were you vice president?
I think Kevin was.
Kevin was, and I'm assuming from the faces I see and names that Kevin has opted off this year.
That's correct.
Okay, so we need a vice president. Is there any other offices we need?
Just, Mr. Chairman, just vice president, or vice chair and chairman.
Just vice chair and chair. Can I have? I'm willing to continue on as chair if and Greg will get you next year. But if Dr. Seaman would like to be vice chair.
Well, not seeing Mr. Delahunt, I feel it would be in order for him to be nominated for vice chair.
Okay, that's all we need is a nomination. If you want to nominate myself as chair and Mr. Delahunt as vice chair, please.
So moved.
And Greg, if you would second that.
I
unless
second.
you object. And if you object, we're going to make you chair. So, okay, we have a motion and a second. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Fike?
Yes.
Dr. Siemens?
Yes.
Mr. Peugeot?
Yes.
Okay, we have one item on the agenda. Is other than staff, is there someone here representing the whoever the parties are over on Sunset Drive?
Yes. Sorry, go ahead, Natalie.
That's me, Natalie Felter.
Okay. Well, Natalie, you and staff need to be sworn in. So if you would raise your right hand, please. And then repeat after me. I solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. If so, say your name.
I solemnly swear to say the truth and nothing else but the truth. Natalie Felter.
Okay, you are all sworn in.
Okay.
So we have the staff's report. Tom, is there anything additional you want to add at this time?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will just give a brief overview of the contents of the staff report. This is a variance to the floodplain section of the zoning code, section 115704E2, for an addition to a residence to be built above the base flood elevation, below the flood protection elevation. This is a property on Sunset Drive. The zoning is R175 single family zoning district. You can see from the overhead satellite view, the property is boxed in blue. These photos also give you an image of the property from the street level, as well as an overhead aerial. Marked in red is an approximate line of where the addition would be located at the rear end of the house. Also included in the packets were the foundation plans, which I have a version of here, as well as elevations of the back of the house showing the particular elevations here. Staff did send out notifications to the surrounding property owners about this request. No such public comments were received by staff to read into the record. If staff has, or if the board has any questions for planning staff, I'd be happy to answer any additional questions about the variance request. Also on the call is Josh Snyder from our Division of Engineering, the department who issues the flood permits, who can answer any more specific questions as well. But that's all from staff.
Okay, thank you. At this time, Natalie, since you're representing the owners, if there's anything additional you would like to add?
I just wanted to make a point where the addition doesn't extend past where the house is right now. So the flood variance or floodplain doesn't change, I guess I should say.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, any questions from the board?
No.
Dr. Seaman?
None here, thank you.
Greg? Mr.
No questions, thanks.
Okay. At this point in time, a motion is in order then?
I would be willing to make a motion to approve this variance.
I would second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. If then the clerk would please call the roll.
Mr. Fike,
I have to abstain.
Dr. Siemens,
Yes.
and Mr. Peugeot.
Yes.
Okay, based on the quorum that's here, we have 2 yeses. This variance is approved.
Thank you.
Is there any additional in the meeting, Mr. Horstman?
One other item, Mr. Chairman, is that the City Commission has tasked our various boards and commissions to examine the meeting times for our different boards. And it's an issue that I don't think has been addressed in many years, in a way to perhaps open them up to be more accessible to members of the public who may be working. For example, the Planning Commission at its December meeting resolved to change their meetings from 4:30 to 5 p.m. To make them in line with the City Commission meeting times. So we just wanted to address that with this board today, since we haven't met in a while. But then, based on any feedback that staff and the chairman and vice chair can work on, any potential changes that we would want to make. I just wanted to make sure we address that today and see if the board had any particular feedback about a potential change in time of our weekly meetings.
So are you making a suggestion that we move it from 4:30 to 5 o'clock?
That was just it was an example of what the Planning Commission determined to do based on people's availability and what thought made sense to the members of the Planning Commission, just to make it a little bit easier and to make it more in line with City Commission.
Okay.
But it's I would just be interested in hearing the feedback from this board about any potential time change like that.
Okay, just real quick, Mrs. Felter, you're welcome to leave the meeting or welcome to stay, either one.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Have a good day.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Dr. Seaman, you're the one that has a schedule that's a lot more rigid than mine. Then if you would weigh in, and then Mr. Peugeot, if you would.
Well, actually, I would have loved to have moved it to 5 o'clock 15 years ago, but it truly doesn't matter one way or the other to me.
Okay.
5 o'clock is fine.
Mr. Peugeot.
Yeah, from my perspective, the only issue with moving it back are my kids' activities and games and things like that it could potentially run into. For my daughter has a high school basketball game tonight at St. Mary's, and doing this at 4:30 is perfect. But I can make it work. These are scheduled well enough in advance that if the board wants to move it back, I'm sure I can make it work.
Okay, I don't care one way or another. A key for me is just scheduling it in. So I think, Tom, as far as our committee goes, it's in my mindset that this meeting is always held at 4:30. So I think my preference would be to leave it where it is unless there's some objection from the outside.
Okay, that's helpful feedback. We can, take that and talk, and then talk offline about it further. I just wanted to make sure we addressed it and got any potential feedback, so we can follow up on that. But thank you.
Thank you. Anything additional from you, from the city?
That is all as of now. There have been no applications received for the February meeting, which is scheduled for February 18th. If that continues to be the case, we'll send out notice a couple weeks in advance of canceling the meeting if we don't need to hold it.
Okay, great.
That is all.
I had one question that I had asked to Greg previously about Zion Lutheran Church, and has a sign that they had installed that is different than where it was previously. It's now closer to the road.
Yes.
And I know it didn't go through us as far as asking for a variance. Is something that I'm missing?
It needed a conditional use permit from the Planning Commission and approval from the Landmark Commission for that change per the code. And it went through both of those processes.
Okay, but it didn't need a variance for setbacks?
No.
Okay, just asking the question, because I know for the Congregational Church next door, they did need one to have their sign put in, which was, for the setback. So, right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, those were the two that based on. Right.
And then there is we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.